Have you ever wanted to say something so precise that the other person just goes silent? Not with shouting, not with insults, but with pure intelligence. Imagine being in the middle of an argument and, with a single sentence, making the other person lower their voice, look at you differently, and have nothing more to say. Today, I will reveal 5 responses so powerful that when you use them, they silence anyone. It doesn't matter if you're talking to a boss, a difficult family member, or someone who simply wants to impose their will. These responses not only protect you, but also place you in a position of power without losing your calm. Pay close attention. Number 3, if used correctly, can disarm even the most skilled manipulator. Stay until the end because you're going to want to practice every single one of them, and when you apply them, you will notice the silence. Everyone has felt that frustration at some point. You're saying something logical, valid, and necessary, but the other person isn't listening. Worse, they seem to be winning the argument. Not because they're right, but because they shout louder, interrupt faster, or attack more aggressively. In our culture, strength is often associated with volume, conviction with imposition, and respect with fear. But that isn't respect. It's momentary domination. True power isn't about imposing your will, but about expressing yourself with such clarity and control that the other person has no choice but to listen. Response 1. I don't need to raise my voice to be right. When someone raises their voice, believing it gives them authority, this phrase calmly removes you from the noise without abandoning the conversation. It sends a clear message. You operate with mental dominance, not emotional chaos. Response 2. The way you speak says more about you than it does about me. This response reflects the other person's behavior without attacking them. It forces them to confront their own words while you remain composed and in control. Response 3. Let's talk when we can do it respectfully. Some conversations are not conversations at all. They are attacks disguised as dialogue. This phrase isn't retreat. It's a declaration of standards and self-respect. Response 4. I'd prefer not to continue this conversation. When dialogue becomes toxic or pointless, this phrase ends it cleanly. It protects your energy, your focus, and your dignity without explanation or apology. Response 5. That's your opinion, and I respect it, but I don't share it. This response defines your position without confrontation. It acknowledges the other person while reaffirming your independence and judgment. These 5 responses don't silence others because you overpower them, but because you rise above them. Respect isn't imposed by force. It's inspired by character. When you speak with calm, clarity, and confidence, people listen. What most people don't realize is that silence is not empty. Silence is structured. When you stop reacting impulsively and start choosing your words carefully, you gain something rare: authority. Authority doesn't come from dominating others, but from mastering yourself. And once people sense that you cannot be provoked easily, their behavior around you changes. Many arguments are fueled by one thing alone: emotional reactivity. The moment you react emotionally, you hand control to the other person. They decide the pace, the tone, and the direction of the conversation. But when you pause, breathe, and respond with intention, you reverse the roles. You are no longer reacting, you are directing. This is why these responses work so well. They are not designed to humiliate or overpower. They are designed to interrupt toxic patterns. They slow the conversation down. They force reflection. And most importantly, They signal that access to you is conditional. Respect is the price of continued dialogue. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the best way to protect your inner peace is not to allow others to drag you into chaos. Every time you choose calm over impulse, you strengthen your character. Every time you refuse to escalate, you train your mind to remain steady under pressure. There is also a hidden benefit to speaking less and choosing your words wisely. People begin to listen more closely when you do speak. Your silence gives weight to your words. Instead of filling a space with explanations, justifications, or defenses, you allow your presence to speak for you. And presence is far more powerful than volume. Another important aspect is consistency. These responses only work if they are aligned with your behavior. If you say, "I'd prefer not to continue this conversation," but then continue arguing minutes later, the power is lost. Boundaries must be clear and maintained. Respect grows where consistency lives. You may notice that some people react negatively when you start using these responses. That's normal. When someone loses the ability to control you emotionally, they feel exposed. But that reaction is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to protect your peace, your clarity, and your self-respect. Over time, something interesting happens. Arguments decrease. Provocations fade. People either adjust their behavior or distance themselves. Both outcomes are wins, because what you lose in noise, you gain in stability. What you lose in conflict, you gain in control. Remember, the goal is not to silence others out of ego. The goal is to stop unnecessary battles. Not every comment deserves a response. Not every disagreement deserves your energy. True strength is knowing when to speak, when to pause, and when to walk away. When you master these responses, you're not just learning how to handle arguments, you're learning how to carry yourself in the world. Calm, grounded, unshakable. And that kind of presence doesn't need to shout. It speaks for itself. Another crucial truth is this: people test boundaries before they respect them. When you change the way you respond, you change the way people approach you. Some will try harder to provoke you. Others will fall silent immediately. Both reactions confirm the same thing. Your energy is no longer accessible by default. Silence, when chosen intentionally, becomes a filter. It separates those who seek understanding from those who seek control. When someone realizes they can't get an emotional reaction from you, they are forced to either communicate with respect or walk away. And that is exactly the position of power you want to be in. In modern life, we are conditioned to respond instantly. Messages, comments, opinions, criticism. Everything demands an immediate answer. But immediacy is not wisdom. The Stoics believed that delay is not weakness, but strategy. Seneca famously said that the greatest remedy for anger is delay. Delay gives clarity. Delay gives perspective. Delay gives control back to you. When you pause before responding, you give your rational mind time to take the lead. You stop being driven by instinct and start acting by choice. And choice is freedom. Most people are trapped in reaction loops, saying things they regret, escalating conflicts they never wanted, and damaging relationships unnecessarily. You step out of that loop the moment you choose calm over impulse. There is also something deeply intimidating about someone who remains composed under pressure, not because they are cold, but because they are stable. Stability signals confidence. Confidence signals authority. And authority silences chaos without effort. You don't need to prove anything when your demeanor already speaks. Let's be clear. This does not mean becoming passive or submissive. It means being selective. Selective with your words, selective with your energy, selective with who gets access to your thoughts and emotions. You are not obligated to engage in every argument, explain every decision, or defend your values to those who have no intention of respecting them. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that other people's behavior is outside of his control, but his own response never is. This mindset changes everything. When you stop trying to control outcomes and focus on controlling yourself, arguments lose their grip on you. Over time, you'll notice something else. Your confidence becomes quieter. You stop rehearsing arguments in your head. You stop replaying conversations. You stop needing the last word. Because peace becomes more valuable than being right. And ironically, that's when people start taking you more seriously. The ability to remain calm, articulate, and firm in moments of tension is not a personality trait. It's a skill. And like any skill, it improves with practice. At first, it may feel uncomfortable to hold your ground without explaining yourself. But discomfort is temporary. Respect lasts longer. Every time you choose one of these responses, you reinforce a powerful identity. Someone who cannot be easily shaken. Someone who listens, thinks, and speaks with intention. Someone whose presence commands attention without demanding it. And that is the ultimate lesson. Silence is not the absence of strength. It is strength under control. When paired with clarity and self-respect, it becomes one of the most powerful tools you can carry into any conversation, any conflict, and any room you walk into. There is another layer to this that most people never consider. When you learn to respond with calm authority, you begin to rewire how your mind perceives conflict. Arguments stop feeling like threats and start feeling like information. Instead of asking, "How do I win this?" you begin asking, "Is this even worth my energy?" That single shift changes everything. Most conflicts are not about truth. They are about dominance, insecurity, or unmet emotional needs. When you refuse to engage emotionally, you strip the conflict of its fuel.